Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Comic Books NYC. It is night one of CBNYCC 2020. Thank you for hanging out for this special weekend of live shows on the Comic Books NYC channel. Starting tonight with Original Art Hour, continuing tomorrow with the 900 subscriber live giveaway party. And then on Saturday, a live claim sale here on Comic Books NYC with myself, DS Comics, Daymers, and J Hood Creative. Some great books, great prices. And then on Sunday, a mystery show, which the details will be a mystery until we go live. So thanks again for hanging out and kicking off this CBNYCC weekend with me, right? You're watching Original Art Hour. This is the show where we sit down with other original art collectors, share some comic art from our collections, tell some stories, have a good time, and discuss the art side of the comic book collecting hobby that we love so much. And joining me on this episode is my guest, Carson, CWoodard19. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how's it going, Cobby? Once again, big thanks for having me. I've said it once, I'll say it again. This is one of my favorite shows on YouTube. I've collected original art for I don't know how long, and it's always great just to sit back and get a chance to watch the show and take notes on some artists you never heard. So big thank you for me, man. Dude,
thank you so much for those words, man. I do appreciate it. Like, you know, sometimes I do the show and I don't even realize that, you know, that people are actually having a good time watching it. You know what I mean? So that makes me feel really, really good. When people give me that feedback. So I do appreciate it. So before we get into CWoodard's origin story and then his art collection, why don't we say a quick hello to some folks here in the chat. We have Magic Lasso #1, loving the OA hour. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. We got Andre Simeon. What's going on, brother? Always good to see you. We got Tony NY Jr., my buddy. My Comic Art Con buddy from a couple weekends ago and previous guest on this program. Thank you for being here live. We got JP's Budget Collecting. CBNYCC is here. We got another previous guest, Tricky Trapster, in the house. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for stopping by. Look at all the previous guests rolling in here. D-Rump Comics, George in the house. Good to see you, brother. Who else is in here? I'm getting used to this new setup that I have here with this new laptop and this new mouse, so just bear with me. Graphic Man is in the house. What's up, Graphic Man? We got Sam I Am Comics. We got John's Comics with Kids. Of course, we got CWood in the chat as well. We got Chris Barrett here trying to qualify for what?
You never know with this guy.
I love Chris Barrett. Sometimes further explanation is necessary, though. That Old Comic Smell is here. Good to see you, That Old Comic Smell. Ruban Guzman in the house. What's going on, Ruben? Cowabunga. That's right. You got Turtles fans right here with you live. Who else? Oh, Tony NY Jr. wants a wrench. I'll hook you up on the flip side, Tony. Sorry about that. You definitely deserve that wrench. Considering we hung out in IRL. So let's see who else is in here. Trying to catch up here with the StreamYard. What's up, Kachung in the house? Good to see you, Kachung. And I am still catching up here on the chat, but I will figure it out over time. So CWood, the floor is yours, brother. It is Thursday night, CBNYCC night one. Let's talk about some original art. Let's talk about con sketches. Let's talk about meeting your favorite creators in person. You know, that's why I'm especially excited to have you on here, because you've done a lot of that in your hobby over the years. What's up, J Hood Creative? Another
J Hood. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, man, what a good guy.
I'm still trying to figure out his contest.
Right. So how'd you get into it, man? What was your however long ago you want to take the story that's up to you.
Yeah, so basically I've basically been collecting sketches from cons and stuff since probably about 2003, 2004, which before that I would just read Wizard magazines and hear about Wizard World cons and that stuff, and I'm like, that'd be cool to get a chance to meet those creators and maybe get a signature, which if you guys see my channel, I have over 1,000 signatures now too. But anyway, I didn't even realize like getting sketches and stuff was a thing until like 03, 04. I went to a con and I think it was either like Top Cow booth or the newly christened Devil's Due. It was a branched off from Image, ran by Josh Blaylock. So there were just a couple creators there. Of course, Josh Blaylock, Tim Seeley, which I do have the sketch up here that he gave me, and a couple others, and they're just sitting there sketching. I'm like, what are they doing? Are they drawing on comics and backboards and stuff like that? And I slowly started to figure out what was going on, and I got a sketch from those guys, and then I went to another booth and I got a sketch over there. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. I'm getting all this original art, and this was back in the day when you could still get some freebies, which I do have some more of that stuff to show tonight.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of my origin in terms of how I figured it out. But since then, of course, back then I was a broke college student, and that's one thing I was going to preface tonight. Like, all these years, I've at least tried to keep a pretty slim budget. So most of the stuff I've acquired is usually like $100 or less. Up until COVID hit in 2020, I'm like, well, now I need to finally pay to get some, good pieces, because I can't just go to a con and get this art. So I figure, like, if I'm not paying for tickets, I'm not paying for parking, I'm at least going to give these artists some bucks and get me some good sketches this year.
Looks like old Comic Smell met Blaylock as well.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
All right, dude. Well, look, man, guest go first. Start showing some art, man. Let's see it.
So I did want to highlight a member of the community first. That he was part of the Boy Who Had Seven's charity auction. It was Journo's Comics, and he did this sketch as a part of the OMG Chris Memorial Auction. So I had no problem giving some money for this book right here, because it went to the funeral funds for OMG Chris, and he did sign it at the bottom, OMG Chris Forever. But yeah, obviously it's got a really awesome shredder in the background, and then all four turtles.
I really like those. I really like those blanks that IDW does.
Yeah,
they make it look like a original art board, like the 11 by 17 board, but it's a sketch cover, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is actually issue 51. First Jenica, if that matters to anybody. Nice. But I just absolutely love this sketch as well. I actually have an additional blank of this that I didn't even really see used.
Wait, that was her. Was that her as a baby or something? Or
it was just her as, I think she was the tune-in for Shredder, basically. Like, so if on my channel, me and Contman Andy are actually reading up to this point soon. So
yeah, that's the part where of the run that I need to read. But,
so that's my first cover. So that I figured I'd just lead off with that, because I thought that was really awesome having that from a community member. But I'll show the Tim Seeley sketch I was referencing next. So this is the very first sketch I believe I ever got. I think this is the oldest sketch in my collection. It's from Wizard World, Texas, 2003. I was down there visiting my brother back in the day, and then he did this when he just started the G.I. Joe run for Image / what was then becoming Devil's Due. So got a Cobra Commander there. I think he knocked it out of the park. I actually got another sketch coming up from him later in the book, which we'll get to that book when we get to the book, because that is my pride and joy. That is my baby. But yeah, this is still, to this day, it's the first sketch I got. It's still one of my favorites in my collection.
Really cool, man. Tim Seeley's great.
Yeah. Let me show off some of those other kind of almost free sketches I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
And then we'll work our way up to some sketch covers. So I talked about Top Cow earlier, about how they had, back in the day in the early 2000s, they had some cool booths at these Wizard Worlds. So they'd get some good artists, and they just do free sketches. They were sponsored by Image and Top Cow. So they would just be sitting there to drag people to the booth to get sketches. So one of those artists was Mike Choi, and he did this Wolverine for me free of charge. And once again, this is still one of my favorites in my collection. So this actually, when he did this, I didn't even know who Mike Choi was. So once I got this, I'm like, I need to find whatever books he's doing. And then luckily at that time, he just started on X-Force, and that run is amazing if you haven't checked it out. But yeah, I got that Wolverine.
Was that before or after the Remender run?
This one was right before. So this one was from the Craig Kyle Christopher Yost run, which I highly recommend if you haven't checking that out. So it's the run right before Rick Remender. Around was it Necrotia X, I think, is the main part of the run that they did. So I got that. I got this free sketch from Angel Medina back in the day. Just a really cool Spider-Man. Just a nice headshot. So I got that. And then Phil Hester, another awesome guy who worked on a lot of good books in the late 90s, early 2000s. So actually, I think I have 2 sketches from him. One's in the book, and then the other is this free Oliver Queen Green Arrow sketch, which I wanted to show this off because he probably literally did this sketch in 5 seconds or less. This guy could sketch Oliver Queen in his sleep. So I always respected this sketch probably a whole lot more than I give off, but I absolutely love this one here just because, like I said, I watched him sketch it, and I probably could have blinked and missed it. So Phil Hester. Got a Brian Haberlin Spawn. It's funny because when I met him with my brother, and my brother got this Spawn, but then I got a Witchblade because, you know, he did Witchblade issue 1, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like, man, that's a pretty cool looking Spawn. My brother, for whatever reason, looked at this and he's just like, I'm just not a big fan of this. I'm like, I'll trade you, man. That Spawn is awesome. So I originally got a Witchblade, but then me and him traded for this Spawn. So I always like telling that story as well. And then DC, well, actually, I'll give away this secret if cons ever get a chance to come back, and DC Comics actually has a booth there. Even at C2E2 this past year, actually, was the only real con.
We actually got to meet and hang out. I didn't even cover that in the intro, but that was awesome.
It was the last con, basically. So DC is a heck of a place to hang out if they're there at these cons. And they still have people who sketch for free. But back in the day, Don Kramer was working on the Detective Comics run with Paul Dini. So I met him actually 2 years in a row, and he hooked me up with 2 free sketches at the DC booth. So I always just thought these were pretty cool quality for just walking up to the guy and having a chat with them. So of course, I got Batman and Poison Ivy. Extremely happy with both of those. Don Kramer, one of the coolest guys I've met. I think he's a Chicago local too. But yeah, like C2E2 was awesome this year. I was so thrilled to get a chance to meet a lot of you guys. Unfortunately,
ironically enough, we met for the first time in Artist Alley.
We sure did. I can't remember I think it's probably Jenny Frizen's line. I think I was taking a book out of the back.
Yeah.
And then I hear like, "Hey, CWood." And I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. I turn, it's like this giant guy. I didn't expect him to be that tall. It was JP. JP's budget collector. Yeah. And then all of you guys walk up behind him. I'm like, oh, this is where everybody's at. But yeah, that was just an overwhelming experience because I have a bunch of friends in Chicago, and they frequent that con as well. And then I think I had another group of friends from Indiana that were there. So I was trying to hang out with like 3 or 4 different groups of people. But that's what cons is all about at the end of the day. Just, not only having fun, getting the art, but getting those connections and meeting your friends, once or twice a year.
As much as I'm going to have fun this weekend trying to fake something, that kind of experience on my channel, there's nothing like a real convention.
Absolutely, yeah, we're missing them for sure.
Is the best.
So yeah, the last one I did pull off the wall that I got a nice free sketch from back in the day. Dustin Nguyen. Once again, this might have been at a DC booth at the Wizard World in the mid 2000s, but I got this Two-Face he did.
Oh,
and this is probably one of my favorite sketches in my collection as well. But there's a horrifying story behind this recently because Drew Manchu's with me on a lot of the Comic Core stuff. I know he's a big Dustin Nguyen fan. So one day I pulled this off my wall to show the guys in the off air, like, hey, I do have an original piece from Dustin Nguyen, and it's one of my favorite things, blah, blah, blah. So I show it, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. And then somewhere along the line, I went to put it back on the wall, and I can't find this thing. I was looking under every shelf in this room. I was looking behind every nook and cranny, and I couldn't find this. It wasn't until I was getting ready for my appearance on Comic Gories maybe like 2 months ago. Okay. You see all these Post-its? I was actually going through every one of my boxes and labeling everything so I could find it a little easier.
I know this. I know the Comic Gories prep struggle.
Yes. So I was prepping for Comic Gories, and I was sorting a lot of other books I've accumulated over time at the same time. What's up, Biggie Shack, man? Thanks for the shout out earlier, by the way, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. J Hood says he's going to be putting up some OA and sketches Saturday.
Oh, I'll be there Saturday night then if I can make it for sure.
Dude, that Two-Face is incredible.
Yeah. But I was going through a box. I don't remember what box it was. I don't remember how many short boxes. But anyway, I was going through one, and I pulled out a comic I liked because I wanted to put it in a Mylar of all things. And this was stuck to the back of it. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't throw it away. I was so happy that day. But I probably lost this thing for almost a year. I left the empty spot on my wall as a reminder, like, don't lose your sketches, you idiot. So I was so thrilled to find this sketch. I was like, because I was never going to replace this, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I like that Two-Face a lot. Very, very cool. So look, I'll cut in here and I'll do a quick speed round. Every time I go, I'll just go quickly so that you can show as much as possible. I really just want to check out your art for the most part tonight. What's up, Mr. Gretzky9966?
Oh, Gretzky.
We had a bunch of people join here. We had Mr. Gretzky, we had Bake the Snake, we had Life with Two YouTubers, Sharon, we had Scott in here, I think was in here for a second. Scott Evans.
Oh, nice.
We had
awesome.
we had X Collect in here, and Sam's still hanging out in here. Tricky Tropster, Lasso, Biggie dropped in here for a second, and then he went to bed. So I think we're caught up. But NYCC, obviously would have started today. I am doing this CBNYCC thing to just basically make myself feel better. What's up? Scott Evans is still here. Good to see you. But for my, I guess, quote unquote, first round, I'm just going to show some stuff that I've gotten at New York Comic Con over the years, as far as sketches or sketch covers. Not a ton. I don't have a ton, but I wanted to start with this one because this is, for the past couple years, I've made it a ritual to get something from this artist because and the name of the artist is Andrea Briccardo, and he's based in Italy. So it's like, that's my one chance. Like every year, that's my one chance essentially to get something from him. And he and his coloring partner, they're both from Italy,
Yeah.
So, and they're both there every year. So this is the first one I got from him a couple years ago. This let me go full here. This Old Man Logan.
Yeah, that's really cool, man.
Right? Yeah, I love it. So that was pretty cool, and I was really, really happy with that. So last year, I went a little bit further and got his coloring partner involved, and had a little bit more input as to exactly what I wanted and stuff like that. And I ended up getting this sick Vader.
Wow.
So Andrea Briccardo and his coloring partner Babs Nicento, I think is her name, Nicenti or Nicento.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's
really
awesome.
Nice. And it is a wraparound, so it actually does continue, like the end of his cape and the point of the saber and whatnot actually extend to the wraparound cover. So it actually looks a lot better when it's like flattened or whatever.
Right.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, dude. The Vader is just sick, right? Yeah, it's one of my favorite Star Wars pieces that I got. So definitely a lot of work for a con sketch. So yeah, unfortunately, can't get anything from him or her this year. I don't know if I really want to deal with another international commission. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a lot of hassle.
I'm sure they could get the sketch cover somehow over there without me having to mail it to Italy or whatever. But I don't know. I'll wait till the next time I can commission them in person or whatever. But also got this one done last year. This was from a different artist, Scan.
Oh, okay. I've heard of Scott. Yeah, that's
yes, cool. Scan Rasuan, I think is his last name. But yeah, thank you guys, appreciate that. But yeah, this is a dope Absolute Carnage, I guess, or Carnage, but it's that version of Carnage from the mini series. So yeah, I dig that Scan one. And then I also, of course, got some stuff from Ryan Otley last year. One of which I will save for one of my other rounds because it's related to something that popped today that was announced at New York Comic Con as it relates to Invincible. But the other Ryan Otley sketch I got last year at the con was this one.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, that's one of my kind of almost commission regrets because I didn't have the budget at the time I met him. Is that would have been really cool to get a Ryan Otley like before he hit it really big. Because I think he was at the original C2E2 in 2010, and it just wasn't in my com budget, unfortunately. But I wish I could also go back and tell him, like, take this money and go to Ryan Otley's table. For the love
I got
of God.
two more. Yeah, I got two more Ryan Otley things to show before the show ends, but I'll wait till my the next round or whatever. But yeah, I really love that one. One of my favorites. Thanks, Lasso. Appreciate that. Yeah, that Invincible trailer has me hyped. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, that's love that one. And then the only other one, I guess, that's New York Comic Con related, because I had Mark Hamill. This was the art was done separately, and then then it was a signature done at New York Comic Con of the Mark Hamill signature.
Oh wow!
Done at New York Comic Con. So old Luke Skywalker on this Force Awakens blank cover. So yeah, so there's a bunch of New York Comic Con related sketches from the past 3 years, and there'll be one more later when I show some Invincible related stuff, since that's a big story today.
Yeah, I'm glad we're finally getting that show. Maybe Invincible will finally get out of that underrated column and be as respected as it should be. Yeah.
All right, you're up, man. Let's see some more.
I'll go ahead and get into some of the sketch covers that I've accumulated. And usually, like, I don't do a lot of sketch covers. I'll be perfectly honest. That's why I don't have a ton.
I don't either. I don't have a ton.
Usually anything I get goes in here, but it kind of got to the point where I wanted a sketch, but then another artist at a con would have this book. So I kind of started taking blank covers with me so I could get a sketch, because I'll be honest, after a while, I love, getting a sketch any way I can, but the backing boards don't age the greatest. I will say that as well. Yeah. I actually took this opportunity to get in some better bags and boards today. So we'll go ahead and start with one of my favorite classic artists, Joe Statten. Got him to do this Green Lantern for me at C2E2 last year. So he's pretty cool. He's one of the guys who created Kilowog, worked on the Green Lantern core book kind of after the big Hal Jordan run of that book that lasted like a couple hundred issues. So always liked Joe Statten's work. Very friendly, nice guy. Him and his wife were awesome to deal with. Rico Renzi did this Spider-Gwen for me. He's the colorist on the book, and he did this Gwenom. I think it was actually at the exact same con I got this. So there's that. Sean Shin, another one of those guys, in my opinion,
Sean's
a little bit overrated, especially when it comes to
underrated.
Yeah, especially when it gets, comes to getting like a good commission at a really good price.
Oh yeah, dude.
I got a great price on this, and it was one of those things like I had my book with somebody else, so I actually kind of planned this con out as a one-day con. I'm like, I know this person's going to have my book, so I'm just going to take this X-Men Red with me because I really want a Jean Grey commission from him, because I like his X-Men work, and I don't really need like all wool. Actually, I only have like one Wolverine. It was free. It was coming up, but sometimes I just I don't need a Wolverine. I just need some Jean Greys, some Phoenix. So I got him to do this.
I feel like Sean Chen is like, I agree with you. Like Sean Chen is one of the more underrated guys, especially for like the quality of his output, like of his work.
Oh yeah,
like both published and unpublished. Like his stuff is just very detailed.
Yeah, I always felt like him and like a guy like Todd Nuck were in the same category. I think Todd's finally getting like his love.
Getting his due. Like some of his stuff is now like out of my reach.
Absolutely, yeah. He's getting to the point where he puts up his list and it goes down the same day because it filled up so quickly. Here's one actually this is one of the ones that actually almost kind of influenced me to start a YouTube channel because I wanted to do an unboxing. So in 2016, Image did this thing called the Image 25th Anniversary Blind Box, where they had like an issue one, like they had a lot of issue ones. So they put 25 different issue ones in this box, and they had like 5 different versions of each number one. There was like a regular cover, a virgin, a black and white virgin, and a black and white normal, and a blank cover, and the opportunity to get a sketch on one of those covers in the box. So this is one of my like YouTube regrets, where I'm like, too bad I didn't have a channel, because I drew 4 books out of that box that had sketches already on them. So I didn't pull them all out. I just pulled out my favorite one for this, and it's the Jeff Lemire Royal City. So this, I just got this as a blind pull in that box. So this is like one of my favorite things I've gotten as well. So Jeff Lemire on Royal City, and actually where it says Royal City, he actually, I don't know if he had like a stamp or something, but you could tell like the imperfections there. Like he actually stamped this with a Royal City stamp. So
aren't the covers for that series like super interesting too? Like I remember, I remember seeing some of the covers.
Like I actually thought this was one of the normal covers because the style is the quality he puts into it is exactly the same on that cover. So this was just like, instead of being a full body shot, it was just a bust shot basically. But yeah, I was just like, that's actually his art. That's really awesome.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah. And I bought this at Cincinnati Comic Expo in 2017. And usually most stuff I buy I have it commissioned. I don't buy a lot of pre-done stuff. But I walked by this like 3 or 4 times. I probably told myself, like, if that sketch is still there, like, I need to buy it. So I walked by it Sunday before I was leaving, and I think this is one of the cooler sketches this guy had. His name is Adam Fields, and he usually goes to the Cincinnati Comic Expo every year. They have it, but had to get this shredder. I walked by it probably like 10 times that weekend, and I'm just like, I'd be a fool not to buy this for the price he had on it. So just thought that was the best sketch he had on his table as well. So just the work he put into his eyes. Thought that was really cool.
That's definitely one of the cooler Shredder sketches I've seen.
Nice. And then the last one on my pile, I have this Babstar Batgirl. So Babstar doesn't make a ton. Actually, she was at C2E2 this year, but sometimes she doesn't do the cheapest of artwork. But at least one day she's doing a signing and doing some nice quick sketches. So I just had to show off the Babstar Batgirl because, hey, I wanted to rebag it anyway. So I decided to take that opportunity. I thought
the comments are still catching up to the Shredder's piece.
Nice. Yeah, that Shredder is.
Everybody was digging that one, dude.
That is definitely one of my favorites that I have.
Says, I'm assuming he's talking about Babs. Your comment about
yeah. Like if you like reach out and look at her commission rates now, they're not the cheapest, even for like a headshot. So that's why I feel kind of fortunate, even just to have this. From
I never really looked into her prices.
Yeah. And I do like her artwork, especially on, like I said, the Batgirl Burnside run. Oh, here's the other one I was going to show off real quick. And then I guess after this one, we can get into the book. But there's this other artist. He frequents the Cincinnati Comic Expo quite a bit. I think every year I've been there, he's been there. And for whatever reason, like this sketch, I don't know how he didn't sell this beforehand, but it was one of his Inktober sketches. And he held on to it for almost a whole year before selling it to me. And it was kind of like the same story with the Shredder. I kept walking by it. I'm just like, is anyone going to buy this? Or am I just going to have to go to an ATM real quick? So I couldn't walk by this one again.
Oh, yeah, so that's nice.
Andy Bennett on the Catwoman for Batman Returns. Definitely. I couldn't believe I got it. The only one he sold from his Inktober run was the Jack Nicholson Joker. So we'll get to him in a second because I at least wanted that one, but he did sell that one, unfortunately. But I did get a chance to get this. So, yeah.
Oh, what's up, 36 Chambers in the house? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, dude, that was a nice piece, dude. I like that one. Who was the artist on that one again?
Andy Bennett.
Andy Bennett. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if he's doing Inktober this year. The last few years, following him on Instagram, he was doing Inktober sketches. And then he even usually sells art books that have the stuff printed in it. So actually, I don't know if I have the art book that he printed this in or not. He did Twin Peaks characters one year, and I definitely bought that one.
Yeah, there's a debate that we've been having about Batman Returns, and it's where it falls in the echelon of comic book movies. But that's a different show. Let's not. What's up, Raul in the house? Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Thanks for watching. I hope you're doing all right. All right. 36 was D-Runk's first AOK. That's cool. 36 art. 36's art is awesome. I think I'm up to like 5, 4, 5, 35, 4, 5, 36. All these numbers are throwing me off. 4 or 5 36 Chambers pieces. and hopefully we'll add some more over time.
Nice.
But I love his pieces. I love his work too. So thanks for stopping by. 36. All right, I'll do a quick minute. We'll get to your book because I've been dying to get to your book. I know you've done your own videos and have shown it a few different times or whatever, but I would love to have you flip through that again on this CBNYCC night 1. So I referred to it earlier with the Invincible news today. The trailer looked great. The involvement of both Corey Walker and Ryan Otley in the show, and of course Robert Kirkman. It's just they're doing it right. I feel, you know what I mean. They're just
it looks great.
It looks great. I can't wait for it. I'm stoked about it. So I'm going to show some Invincible related stuff. One was a pickup from New York Comic Con last year. Ryan Otley, fantastic Invincible sketch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is just badass. This is one of my favorites. Really, really love that one. So that one definitely wanted to show. Pick this up from. I actually did a deal with another guest on the show, Mike the Collector, which involved this. This is a Chris Imber, Mark Grayson Invincible sketch illustration. Badass.
Yeah, he definitely captured Otley's style on that. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Blood and everything. Yeah. So, these two actually look good next to each other,
oh, for sure.
So had to give some Invincible love today. And then the other one is a Ryan Otley Invincible page. So an original page from the series. This is from issue 135.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So here, I'll go full screen on this.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit better. So you got some flight, you got some action, you have a side profile as well. So, yeah, man. Those are my 3 Invincible pieces. As a Invincible fan, I am pretty excited today. Thank you. Yeah, dude. It's just a good day to be an Invincible fan.
Yeah.
And so I had to drop this stuff. So, all right, dude. Let's see your sketchbook, man. I can't wait. This is what I've been waiting for. Let's dive into it. Let's take a look at the legendary CWoodard19.
Yeah. So like I said, I guess I'm like Sauron, where he has the one ring to rule them all, and then this is where I pour all of my greed and avarice into the book. So I think I started this in the summer of 2006. It's me and my brother just had the idea one day. Like I said, it was do we really just want to get these backing boards and stuff, or? Anyway, I think I just saw one dude the year before. He had a book, and I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. I just went and I think Barnes and Noble at the time walked in and picked this up, for probably $5 or $10. You can still buy them anywhere today. I feel bad because I think both Bear Island and JB Discovery Bay bought sketchbooks once they saw mine last year at C2E2, and then COVID happened. So I just feel bad for anybody who just started one. And now they're having to force the mail them off. So hopefully one day we'll get the world to normal again and be able to fill our sketchbooks up. But yeah, one thing I like to do is
logistically during a time like this, not very realistic.
No, the USPS, FedEx, and UPS are not touching this book. So one thing I like to do, if I have nothing else from the creator on me, and I have my book, I usually like to grab some signatures and stuff. So this kind of summarizes what this book's all about. So I guess I'll highlight one thing real quick here. And that's Amanda Connor. I met her and Jimmy Palmiotti last year at Cincinnati Comic Expo once again. It was such a slow con at the end. They were just sitting there having a chat with everybody and just having a great time. They were sponsored by Comic Sketch Art. So unfortunately, it kind of forced them to have to charge for autographs and signatures. But they're kind of the type when people aren't looking, they'll take care of you when they can. Let me silence that. But I do like this right here. She did this Power Girl because she says she was tired of drawing Harleys. But a fun note, she drew the boob window first before the face. I don't know why, but that just cracked me up. And then every time people see the Jerry Ordway, they kind of mark out for him too. So he drew the nice Superman logo up there. But there's a ton to go over. Bruce Timm's in there somewhere, and a bunch of others. We'd spend all day still on that page. So we'll move on to the first one. And it's a great way to start the book, in my opinion. So this artist, I was waiting in his line. I had the VIP pass, and he is like one of the 4 people you get to meet as part of the VIP pass in Wizard World Chicago 2006. So unfortunately, he was either stuck on his plane landing or in a taxi or something, and he felt pretty bad because he was running late. And he just started taking out his art supplies and sketching. I'm like, cool. I have a book for the first time. So I got this Addy Granoff Iron Man, and this was as he was doing a comic with Jon Favreau at the time. I think it's like Iron Man Viva Las Vegas. It was a mini series, and I just think this is cool because it's like a couple years later I found out he was the guy who designed the armor for the movie.
Right.
So and he did this free of charge, and I couldn't be happier with it.
No,
so.
He's just a badass artist.
Yeah, he absolutely is. So I was very happy to have this as the opening piece in this book. I keep saying that. One of my favorites, of course. Almost all one of my favorites. They're all
one of your favorites.
Exactly.
That's how it is.
This was actually, I think, the second piece I ever paid for. Freddie Williams II. He's done a lot of Turtle artwork down the line and other stuff. But back in the day, he was on Robin. And my favorite Robin is Tim Drake, and that's who he was drawing at the time. So I had to get a Tim Drake Robin for the book. So definitely happy with that one. And I was so blown away. I watched him draw this whole thing. And I think that was like the second time, or it's probably the first time I actually did a full-blown commission and got a chance to see it drawn. So I always appreciated the experience just for that. Always got to shout out Eric Larson. Once again, kind of like Phil Hester, this guy could probably draw this guy in his sleep, of course. So probably 2 seconds on this sketch. He did it just as fast as his signature. So always happy to have a Savage.
His work on Spider-Man has taken a crazy market
has it
increase. Yeah,
that's some good work. I'm surprised it's taken that long for that to happen.
It was underrated for a long time.
Yes, especially that one Venom cover he has. You guys know the one. Ebass Eric Basaldua, I think is his name. Everyone just calls him Ebass. He's another one of those Top Cow artists. I just walked up to him at the Top Cow booth, and I'm like, "Hey, I'll get your exclusives." He's like, "See, this guy knows how to do business. Give me your sketchbook." I'm like, "Okay, cool, man." So for free, he drew this thing.
Wow.
I think I think it's from Witchblade, if I remember right.
Okay.
But he was just chatting and drawing and having fun with the book. So I'm just like, dude, that looks awesome. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to enjoy the process. So that's still one of my favorite. Oh, like I said, one of my favorites. Like most of everything in here. I want to go to the Tim Seeley one again because, like I said, I met Tim Seeley a couple times, and he's a good supporter of the Hero Initiative. So usually when I try to meet him, I like to meet him because everything he does at that booth goes right to the creators that need the help the most. So this was a Hero Initiative sketch he did for me of Snake Eyes. So I definitely wanted to get another G.I. Joe commission from him at the time. And yeah, just that is just beautiful. I love this one. So
yo, what's up, Steve? That's dope.
Yeah, so the story on the next 2 or 3 is a bit of a somber one because it was a Wizard World week. I think it was 2008. I always get 2007, 2008, 2009 kind of mixed up, but it was the day Michael Turner died.
Oh, no.
And Aspen had a big presence there, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you could just feel like a knife go through the heart of the convention center because not only did he pass away, he was scheduled to appear at that convention, of course. He made, even when he was suffering from bone marrow cancer and at his worst, he was still going to all these cons and meeting all of his fans. And like I said, when the news leaked that he passed away, like you could just feel a dagger go through the con. But the creators at the con did something really cool. They invited the fans to come to the Aspen booth that was there, and they just wanted to sketch Mike Turner's characters for people. So I just happened to be near the booth, and some dude's like, "Hey, you want to sketch?" So the first one I got from the Aspen booth that day was from Kenneth Rockefort. I believe this is Adam Matthews from Fathom. So just an absolute beautiful piece, but he did write R.I.P. Michael for Michael Turner that day.
Yeah.
So this is the first one I got. The second one, and I believe this artist has unfortunately passed away as well. I think it's Tommy Castillo was his name. And yeah, I could tell he was pretty sad drawing this. And he wasn't too chatty, but, you know, he was a nice guy, of course. Everyone there was as cordial as possible under the circumstances. So he kind of even just like once Kenneth was done, he's just like, hey, I'll draw on that too. So he just kind of grabbed it. And, you know, he kind of just felt like drawing and, you know, keeping a nice quiet atmosphere and reflecting. But yeah, he did this.
Oh, wow.
R.I.P. Mike right there.
That's a larger one.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the same character. Like I said, I didn't really want to be like, oh, what character? As I didn't feel like that was my place at the time. But he just felt like he's like, I want to draw. I'll go ahead and draw on your book if you'd like. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, man. So he painted this like all the hair is brush strokes instead of, you know, Sharpie, obviously. So, you know, just a really nice piece from him. And then Jason Craig, I actually met him at the DC booth later on. He was sketching for free there as well. And I didn't even know he had any type of relationship with Mike, but it's this one's kind of weird, I'll be honest, because I think he just saw R.I.P. Mike on the first two, but he did a Jason Voorhees and then signed it R.I.P. Mike, Jason Craig. So, yeah. So like I said, it's I don't know what to think about that. But
it's that's a take. That's you know,
yeah,
certainly
right, with a Jason Voorhees sketch. I don't know, but it is what it is. I didn't ask him to do that. He kind of just did that on his own. So yeah. Next up, and then if you want to go to the chat,
that's certainly something you couldn't have predicted. So
yeah, exactly. So I got this Shane Davis sketch, and this is what at the time he was doing Green Lantern, Rage of the Red Lanterns, and a lot of the covers for it. And like I said, for the price I paid for this, I thought he knocked this thing out of the park. Yeah. Especially, I wouldn't. This is one of those pieces like I never really get any of my stuff like redone by an inker, but if I had like a Joe Rubenstein in front of me, I might hand him this sketch if I was going to get one sketch like re-inked. But I just love the quality Shane Davis put into the face of Hal Jordan there. So, like I said, I really enjoy the quality of that sketch for sure. We'll pass the next few free. We could visit Phil Hester one more time. Once again,
show whatever you want, man. We got another 25 minutes or so, 25, 30 minutes.
So he did this one probably in 5 seconds as well. He was also working on The Darkness at the time, and he was actually the writer of the book, if I remember correctly. But he did art here and there in the book. But I'm just like, hey, I really enjoyed your work on Green Arrow, but I'm also reading Darkness right. He's like, oh yeah, you want Darkness for the book? I'm like, okay, sure. And he like before I like turned my brother like, hey, I'm getting another sketch. I turn back and he's already got it done. Yeah. So, Phil Hester just blows me away every time I meet him, just how fast that guy can draw. All right, so my next one, I'd say especially at the time, and even now, I'll call it kind of one of my like sketch grails, if you will. Okay. Because I really, really enjoyed this run. It's Ultimate Spider-Man, one of the runs that got me back into comics. And of
course, that run.
Bagley Spider-Man art, some of the all-time best. He might be my favorite Spider-Man artist. Mark Bagley.
Yeah, he's up there for me, dude. I have a hard time choosing between him and Romita Sr., obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You know, tough to beat.
Modern day. But, yeah, I feel very fortunate to get to meet Mark Bagley and get a sketch from him at C2E2 2010. Because the thing about the original C2E2 is, like, it was as big then, center-wise, as it was now.
You didn't even have to color that yourself, like E-Rock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I think I did hear that story. Yeah, he was still pretty funny though. I was kind of I'll be honest, when I met Mark Bagley, I was a bit starstruck when I got him this time. And he's just like, what do you want, kid? I'm like, I want an Ultimate Spider-Man. He's just like, is there a difference between regular and Ultimate Spider-Man that I don't know about? I was like, sir, you can just draw it however you want. I just want Spider-Man because like you're my favorite Spider-Man.
I want Mark Bagley drawing Steve Ditko Spider-Man. How about can you do that for me, Mark?
T-Rock says, I'll fix that for you.
There you go.
But yeah, the original C2E2, like it was as big as it was this year, but there was a fraction of the people there. So like there were so many artists you could just walk up to and not wait in line. And that Sunday, Mark Bagley, I literally walked up to him a Sunday afternoon at C2E2 and got this sketch. And my buddy Mike, I think, got something from him as well. And then my brother got a Venom from him. So every artist at that original C2E2 was so approachable. So I feel very fortunate. I got this for a very cheap price at the time from him.
Nice, dude.
Next one I'll go ahead and show. I think this was 2011 Wizard World. I bounced back and forth between Wizard World and C2E2 early on, especially in this book. Mike McCone, and for a while I'd say this was probably my favorite sketch I had. It's, of course, once again, still one of my favorites. But I got a Dr. Doom from him.
Nice.
Because he was working on Fantastic Four at the time with John Michael Straczynski. And I just loved his Teen Titans work. So when he finally got announced for a con here in the Midwest, because I think he's from across the pond, of course, I had to take a bunch of books for him because he was one of my favorites at the time and still is now. But I definitely love the features he put on the face of Dr. Doom there and just the work he did with the shadows. So, yeah, for sure. Love that Dr. Doom. Absolutely.
Tricky's asking if you have any Chris Burnham in there.
No, I never got a chance to get a sketch from Chris Burnham. I met him a few times because, especially like when he hit it big on, I think it was Batman Incorporated back in the day. His commission list filled up pretty quickly back then. So, unfortunately, not. The next one I do have Wizard World 2011, 2012. Once again, I can't remember which one, but these next two artists, it was one of those situations where Wizard World's kind of fallen on its face, like just in terms of management and that stuff. Hate to say it because it is one of my. I do have a lot of fond memories going to Wizard Worlds, but the floor structure was garbage at this one.
Never been to a Wizard World before.
You're not missing much nowadays. Back in the day, like it had its prime. But their floor layout made no sense. Like the artist alley was in rows across the rest of the floor at the time, and there were two artists I was looking for. I couldn't find them, so finally I roll across this booth. It was advertising some sort of college, and for some reason these two artists were there raising money for this college. Didn't say it at all in the program, and that artist was Mike Deodato Jr.
So wow. Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman, yeah. So I got him to do this Wonder Woman for me. And like I said, I walked right up to him. There was no line for him because they buried him so deep in this con that no one could find him. So I got a chance to meet him. He was pretty nice. He didn't speak too much English, and we didn't get a chance to talk too much, obviously. Okay. But yeah, he was really cool. I remember when I started collecting his stuff, he was doing some Wonder Woman back in the day. So I was like, I would love just a good quality Wonder Woman for the book. So he definitely delivered. And like I said, once again, he did not charge too much at all. I was shocked. So I was like, when he told me the price and all that, I'm like, yeah, you're going in this book, dude. So I got that. And then sitting right next to
Lasso's approval. So
oh yeah. And sitting right next to him was an artist named Will Conrad who worked on X-23 in 2011. So I'm like, I would love an X-23 for the book. So Mike Deodato just passed it right to his buddy. I paid them both right up front. And when Mike Deodato was done, he just, instead of giving the book to me, he just gave it right to Will Conrad, and he knocked this one out of the park for me too. So
dope.
Yeah, they're just raising money for some local college. Couldn't believe it. So sometimes you luck out like that at cons.
Yeah, man.
Let's see what we got next. We were talking about Todd Knock earlier.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my top favorite commissions I have. Once again, I know I keep, beating a dead horse with that quote, but like I said, I got this. I was like, this is my favorite one I've ever got at the time in 2012. And you said it perfectly. I think now he's gotten his due. When he opens up his list, people flock toward it, and he's finally charging what he should. But back in the day, like for the quality of work he would pour into these things, even I was just like, do I need to give you more money for this? But I'm a cheapskate. I don't like to do that. But this is like the first piece I got. I'm like, I underpaid.
I feel guilty about what I'm doing.
Yeah. So I got my Todd Knock. He did the thing. This is when I was starting to really get into some fantastic.
I remember seeing that one before when you've shown the book, but it's just I've always loved that one. Yeah.
Like I said, if I wasn't a broke kid at the time in 2012, if I had a little bit more money, I wish I could have got a full body bigger commission from. But I'm definitely more than happy to have this piece in my book nonetheless. But I do like the fact that he did a Copic sketch. But he did take the time to draw the blue eyes of the thing. So the blue-eyed thing. So he did include that little detail that I definitely appreciated. So yeah, this is probably at least one of my top 5 favorites I have for sure, if not top 3. So I got that, and then next is kind of like almost the same situation as Will Conrad, Mike Deodato. I got a chance to meet Norm Rapmond, who was sitting right next to him with no line or anything. When Todd was drawing this, I kind of turned to him because he was just sitting there like eating a granola bar. I'm just like, is your commission list open? And he's like, oh yeah, well, like, do you have a book? I'm like, that's my book right there. Like, oh yeah, once he's done, you just pass it over. So he got this Booster Golden Skeets, another one of my favorite characters. I didn't even ask for Skeets, so I feel fortunate that I got Skeets drawn in the background there. And actually, I'm sorry, yeah, this is at C2,
Yeah.
12, not Wizard World. So
That's a tight sketch. Yeah, it's a tight sketch. Nice.
yeah, so I always like that booster sketch. Actually, funny thing, I showed this today. I actually, before the show, just ordered a Blue Beetle sketch from Drew Moss. So I saw his commission list was open on his website, so I just went ahead and like, that's a pretty reasonable price. So I'll go ahead and order a color one.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to sketch grails, we talked about Mark Bagley. I think this was actually Wizard World. This is my first time meeting this artist, and he is my all-time favorite artist ever, and that's George Perez. So he was doing some nice, very affordable, quick sketches at this con. So I got this Scarlet Witch from him.
Cool.
He was just doing quick sketches, but I just feel extremely fortunate to have something from my all-time favorite artist. And
sketch is dope,
Yeah, and I know, shout out to you, man. That page you showed a couple weeks back from Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. When you showed that thing, I think I was just like, oh my God, in my living room by myself. I was like, that is the coolest thing. So big congrats on that piece, man. That was awesome. Like I said, anytime anyone gets some like really cool George.
I'm just picturing you watching the show, doing that. That makes me smile, dude. That's funny.
Yeah, I think this at the same con, Barry Kittson was there. And Barry Kittson, he's an interesting dude because at the time, like, he's just like, I don't charge for sketches, but I just want to, hang out with a group of people waiting in line and having fun. And he puts full color, full body. And I mean, there's a dude who won like a hero raffle or something. He did like a 24x36 poster for this guy. Oh, wow. And we all just sat there and watched, but I had nothing to do for the Sunday. This is kind of like at the tail end of Wizard World's prime. I had nowhere else to be on Sunday, so I was waiting in his line for a couple hours. But he cranked out for me this Reed Richards in full color and all that stuff. So, and he was just really cool to talk to. He's a chatty guy. He is really awesome to deal with. So he was definitely worth hanging out in line, just getting to know him and that stuff. So Barry Kittson did this Mr. Fantastic for me. So I was pretty happy with that because, like I said, he didn't even want to charge for anything. He just wanted to hang out with his fans. And then here's one, just a quick free sketch. I have a bunch of these probably by now. I have two to show off tonight. I have one in the hardcover over here, but obviously along with Perez and Mark Bagley, I had to get this guy, and I just kind of snuck it in there like, hey, sir, would you give me a free sketch? He's like, oh, yeah, that's all. Yeah, it's like Kevin Eastman. The one time I got a chance to meet Kevin Eastman, and he gave me a sketch in this, and then in my Turtle hardcover I'll show off toward the end here. But, yeah, I had to get one Kevin Eastman. Like I said, it's kind of like that Savage Dragon from earlier. He could draw that thing in his sleep, so extremely happy to have that.
All right, that gives me a perfect opportunity to cut in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Caroline, Lady Fantastic in the house. I think we had a few other people joining the chat as well, but appreciate everybody who's watching, hanging out with us tonight, having a good time here. But that Kevin Eastman gave me a perfect opportunity to chime in, show one more thing real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we do a, like a marathon speed round for what you would to wrap things up. Yo, what's up, Funk Comics in the house? Also, good to see you, man. So that Kevin Eastman Turtle Head. So this is my only, I guess, like official Turtles related art with like a Turtles creator or a Turtles, artist involved in it. And it's from this book. It's not from the main title. It's from that offshoot title.
Oh, okay. Tales of TMNT. Yeah.
Tales of the TMNT. So this is issue number 5. So it's Jim Lawson was the Jim Lawson was both the writer and the penciler of this series, and Ryan Brown was the inker and the co-writer or something like that. Yeah. So it was a very collaborative relationship on this offshoot title between Jim Lawson and Ryan Brown under Eastman and Laird's like guidance. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the first, this is the first title outside of the core Mirage Studios Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 1 book that was ongoing that they did, right?
Right.
The first, separate miniseries, if you will, right?
Yeah, because it's probably that and then the TMNT Adventures after that.
So, and it's from issue 5. This is I have the trade for this, right, as well. So, but
nice.
it's that page, the one that says Complete Carnage Radical.
Oh, okay.
So here's so that's how it looks, colored and printed or whatever. But this is the page. Right?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's my one TMNT published. So I guess it's technically like a title splash or a story page splash. So that was Jim Lawson, Ryan Brown. But what makes it even cooler, at least to me, is that on the back.
Oh, look at this.
So on the back, you have Jim Lawson turtle sketch. You have a Ryan Brown turtle sketch. You have a Kevin Eastman turtle sketch. Peter Laird.
That's awesome.
So I did get turtles on here. It's just there's no turtles on here, but hey, it's an awesome published TMNT book page, so I can't complain. So
that's really cool, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. I'm going to go through these comments super quickly so we can get back to CWood.
I know I'm rambling too much. We'll start the show.
We'll go a little over time. We can plan on an hour and 15 for you, just because I want you to get through whatever you want to share. All right.
Next up, I got a Corey Hampshire sketch. He was just at a local shop.
I have a few Corey sketches.
Nice. He did this Joker for me, and this was kind of around the time they were doing the Death of the Family, or Death and whatever that was called. I always get the name flipped around. But he knocked this Joker out of the park. This is one of those ones that, like, when other creators are flipping through the book, when they get a chance to look at it, they're just like, who did this one? And they kind of stopped at this one of all the sketches so far. But he also took some whiteout and wrote "ha ha ha" all along the background there. So always like that little extra touch he put into it.
Yeah.
So, well,
it's like a commonly used technique.
Yeah.
For Joker, for sure.
Yeah, and even on that Wolverine from Mike Choi I showed way back when, he did a lot of whiteout, just he was doing this with it just to get some of the extra features on Wolverine. Next up, I'll show my Jay Lee head sketch I got.
Yeah.
Got a chance to meet him at Indiana Comic-Con a few years back. And once again, for some reason, no line, so I just dropped off my book, and he knocked that one out pretty quick.
I think that was before he was on that list of right to get him.
Yeah, I would agree. It's probably I think he did Superman, Batman at the time. That'd be pretty cool because I at this point I didn't have a Batman in the book, so I'm I'll get a good Batman.
I've been looking for a Jay Lee, the Jay Lee piece I want my collection to represent Jay Lee. For most artists, I stick to one piece in my collection, and I try to get as many artists that I like.
Yeah,
I still haven't accomplished the Jay Lee piece that I like, that I'm willing to pay that much money for.
Right. Luckily I just found him on the right day and got a quick head sketch from him. Got this Steve McNiven Groot from the Cincinnati Comic Expo. So it's kind of like the same thing as Barry Kittson. I'm just I already seen everything at this con. I have nothing better to do. So once his one line cleared out, I think it was his wife, or I don't know who was handling his booth. I'm so is he done sketch for the day? He's no, he's got sketch for the first 4 people in the next line. I'm well, saw 2 people already there. I'm going to be guy number 3 for 2 hours. So, well worth it in my opinion. So I got that. Got this Gene Ha Vixen. He did this one for Hero Initiative Charity.
Nice.
So he did some cool watercolor work on that one. Let's see. Of course, everyone has the quick Adam Hughes sketch at this point.
I don't.
Oh, you don't? Oh man. Yeah, he's been at recent cons. He's been cranking out a lot of quick sketch work. So I wish I would have had his wife color this in. She was really cool too. I just didn't have that cash right at that second.
What's up, man cave?
So let's see what we got next. Daryl Banks, one of my childhood favorite artists.
I was still looking for my Adam Hughes, but that's cool. For a quick
had to get him to get Kyle Rayner, another underrated commission artist. For the price he charges, This was so worth it. He still doesn't charge too much for his full body commissions. But yeah, I told him, this is my childhood on the page, man. That got a really nice smile out of him. So the rest of the show, like, he would like be waving at me and that stuff. Like he was so happy with this sketch, and I was too. So I was very happy to get Daryl Banks. I believe this artist's name was Jay Fife. I haven't really seen him at a con since I got this from him, but he did this Freddy Krueger because he seemed to have a lot of like horror movie inspired work at his table. So got that from him at Cincinnati.
Sorry if I miss you, Tim. Thanks for being here.
Going back to Andy Bennett, actually, this is my second of 3 Andy Bennett pieces I'll show tonight. He was a big David Lynch fan. Like I said, he did an Inktober on just the Twin Peaks stuff because that was getting ready to come back on Showtime. Actually, I think it had already been Showtime. But got an Eraserhead from him. I'm just like, I don't know which Twin Peaks character I want, so I'll go Eraserhead.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So yeah, he basically, and he once again he used that like whiteout technique on the side there perfectly. So really like how that turned out. Bob Mccloud, he did his awesome Beast.
Nice.
So I think I got this one in like Louisville, Kentucky, right before he raised his rates. So, but nonetheless, he's still worth it though. He's a cool dude for sure. So I got that Beast from him. Ty Templeton, maybe the most underrated guy for the price you pay, in my opinion.
Okay.
I got this. It took me 2 cons to get him because the first one he fit. I went only Saturday, Sunday. I ran to his table Saturday morning. First thing, I was the first one there, but he filled up his sketch list Friday. So I learned my mistake at the following year at Indiana Comic Con 2018. I got there Friday. I bolted toward his table before I did anything else, and I was still second in line. But I got this Poison Ivy from him. He didn't even charge barely. I don't even think he charged like $80 for this. Like,
wow,
he is some of the best value you can get for your commission money for sure. So absolutely knocked this one out of 10 parks in my opinion. So really happy with that Poison Ivy.
Yeah, he incorporated a background and everything.
He sure did. Yeah, like you couldn't ask for more for the price you pay. D-Runk wanted Connor Kent Superboy. So who do you go to get a Connor Kent Superboy? And this is kind of like up there with Bagley for me and Adam Hughes and George Perez and those guys because the one guy I'm missing in this book is Dan Jurgens. I would love to get a Dan Jurgens piece at some point. But my other favorite artist from when I started collecting as a kid was Tom Grummett. And the ultimate guy to get a Superboy from is Tom Grummett because he basically created the character. So got my Don't Call Me Superboy sketch from Todd Grummett. Extremely happy. This one was definitely bucket list for me.
Dope, dude.
So there you go, D-Runk. There's the Tom Grummett Superboy. Definitely.
I don't have any Tom Grummett Superboy, but I got some Tom Grummett X-Men pages.
Nice. And yeah, shout out to a Spidey fan earlier. I know once he saw this, he hit me up because he wanted a Tom Grummett as well. Let's see. We'll skip a couple more just because I know I want to get to the highlights here. I do have a funny Bear Island story around this one. So I got Stephanie Hans, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I saw her draw Buffy once or twice before. I think she did the last run of covers when it switched from Dark Horse to Boom. She did those Dark Horse covers on that very last season run. So I was like, oh, cool. I always wanted it because Buffy is my favorite TV show of all time. So I wanted a Buffy something for the book. And Stephanie Hans was nice enough. I emailed her before C2E2, and she was like, yeah, just go ahead and bring your book the day of. When I picked this up, marks the very first time I met Bear Island Comics. He was just starting his channel at the time, so I was getting to know him as well. And he had this piece he was showing there. I think it was like that big Poison Ivy. Most of you guys probably know the one. He showed it off on his channel before.
Yeah.
And he was showing it to me and, talking about it. I'm like, yeah, that's nice. But I got this in my book. This is an actual sketch. I thought the thing he had was a print, his poster. It was so good of quality, and it was amazing that I just was like, yeah, that's all right, whatever. But then, like, later, I subbed him up when I got home because it was my first interaction with him. And he was showing a C2E2 haul. He's like, yeah, I got this sketch from Stephanie Hans. It was like that big, like, I don't even know how big it is, that Poison Ivy he has. And I'm like, that was a sketch? Oh, my God. But I still very much enjoy my Buffy. But every time I look at this, I think of the first time I met Bear Island. And the fact that I was just like, yeah, look at this, man. He had like this amazing piece done as well.
I love my Stephanie Hans piece. I have a Galactus Silver Surfer
nice
watercolor from
that's cool.
Quick shout out to Asian Funk Comics on YouTube. He did a he did a 45-minute or so interview with Stephanie Hans, which I watched and thoroughly enjoyed on his over on his channel. And he dropped that yesterday, I think. So that was dope.
I actually got a chance to interact with him on one of the Hero Initiative Zoom meetings. One day I was helping out the Hero Initiative host a Dan Brereton Q&A, and he was one of the people who bought into that Q&A.
Oh,
and
nice.
Like, this guy looks familiar, and I was like, it's Asian Funk. And then
he's got a great channel. Yeah,
I don't know if he actually ever sent me because he got a Dan Brereton sketch as a part of that Q&A.
Word.
But I got this Ron Wilson Human Torch. I just like the 80s Fantastic Four style he put into it.
So good.
Yeah, so he was really cool to deal with too, for sure. Like, and of course he's mainly known for the Thing, but I already had that Todd Knock thing in here, so I wanted a different Fantastic Four character. And then here's my third Andy Bennett piece. So like I said, I couldn't get me a Jack Nicholson Joker when he has Inktober stuff on this. So when I met him again, I'm like, dude, you're gonna be the first person to put something twice in this book. Can I get the Jack Nicholson Joker? He's like, you absolutely can. So he drew the Jack Nicholson Joker in my book for me. So really happy with that one. Really just that face he put on there matches perfectly. He's on those parade floats, dancing to Prince. I think it's awesome. God, this guy's first name escapes me. He's the Aspen artist, Gunderson. He did this Aspen Matthews for me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Booth at C2E2. But for the life of me, I can't think of his first name right now. Jordan Gunderson, I think it's Jordan. Okay. Yeah. So he just has some high quality work that he puts in his face.
Yeah, that's a pretty one.
Yeah, because I stopped by there. I was hoping Saya Ohm would be at that con, but unfortunately I missed her. Like, she's another one I wouldn't mind getting in this book, and she usually went to the Cincinnati ones, but fortunately COVID stopped us all from doing everything this year. Chris Campana, I actually have another piece hopefully in the works from him this month. But I had him at the time do a Mum-Ra the Ever Living for the book from Thundercats. So he does a lot of cool work with just the art he had on display, a lot of cool stuff with Turtles and Thundercats. I'm like, I got a decent amount of Turtles. I'll go with some Thundercats for sure. So I got that done. Want to get a lion out at some point in the book. Here's Kaylin Smith. She did a cool Darkwing Duck. She had like one of these already pre-done on her table, but I asked, like, can I get something like that in my book? And she was very happy to accommodate that. So Darkwing Duck. Don't see too much from him, so I definitely want to get a sketch. Going to Jimmy Palmiotti. So we got the signature from Amanda Connor. So everyone's like, where's Jimmy Palmiotti? Jimmy Palmiotti just takes my book and starts looking through it because, he's just a fan too at heart. He just loves everything comic books. So he's looking at everything at this point. He's just like, so she just signed it and did a little whatever in the front. Can I give you like a sketch? I'm like, yes. So he's the guy who actually added Wolverine to the book for me.
Nice.
And he just because he wanted to sketch. He didn't even ask for any money or anything. Just drew Wolverine in there smoking a cigarette. So Palmiotti, one of the coolest guys you could ever meet at a con if we get.
All right, so JP's asking the question that we're probably all.
Yeah.
Let's get to the brass tacks here. Yeah. How many pages do you have filled in the book, and how many do you have to go?
I don't know how many I have to go. Probably, if I had to ballpark it without, taking everyone's time and counting now, I'd probably say 35, 40 pages. I did feel like this question was going to come up, so I did count for the first time ever just for this show, and the number sits at 54 sketches so far.
Wow.
And I don't even know how many I didn't count the signatures, so who knows? I'll have to get that number in the comments later. So I might count the signatures later, but I did count 54 sketches alone in the book so far.
Right. How much stuff do you have pulled to show? We got about 5 to 10 minutes left or so.
Besides this, I could probably just show my two Christopher Castillo stuff or Castillo.
Oh, yeah. Show whatever you want. You got 5 to 10 minutes to show.
That's about all the time I should need. So I'll show what's probably going to be the worst sketch ever shown on your show, but it's still a charming, awesome sketch. And that's Brian K. Vaughn's Lion Cat. So Brian K. Vaughn, of course, someone just drew, he drew an ampersand for a guy in front of me. So I'm like, that's really cool. But then I'm like, you know what's cooler? And arguably, I don't know, they're both great characters. I'll get the lion cat. So he drew a little kitty cat and said lying above it. I dug it. So I was very, very happy that we took pictures of it together and stuff. He was awesome.
I should have thought of that when I met him.
I got a Brett Breeding Doomsday. This was, I think this was for Hero Initiative as well. So he's just doing charity sketches. And yeah, another one of my all-time favorites, Doomsday. So yeah, I got that. Oh yeah, we'll show one more from the book and that's it. Guy Gilchrist just did this last month. I got a chance to get a sketch in the book this last month. So he does a lot of, he was Jim Henson's animator, basically.
Nice.
Or cartoonist, I should say. And he does a lot of Turtles and Muppet Babies. But I have a decent amount of Turtles on the walls and stuff, and I'll show one here in a second. But it's like, I don't have a Krang for the book. And it seems like he'd be the perfect guy to do Krang. But he said he hadn't drawn him in years, and I can kind of tell because he didn't draw the little antennae on the head. It is what it is, but I just appreciated the other little features he put in, like little crank wheels, and he probably used like 20 different pencils on this thing just to get all these colors.
Yeah.
He was a cool dude to talk. I probably just talked to him for an hour before he even started drawing. He was just a really cool dude. So yeah, he knocked out that Krang for me. And then, like I said, if you guys ever meet, Rob Guillory, if you ever meet him at a con and you have these hardcovers, take a hardcover with you because he will sketch in almost every single hardcover you bring him.
Oh, cool.
I have 6 Chew hardcovers. I have the whole run in hardcover, and he has sketched for free in every one of them. So I definitely wanted to shout out Rob Guillory. And I'll just leave the other cover. You guys already know what the Kevin Eastman turtle headshot looks like. I also got one on that hardcover. It's the same thing. So I'll conclude with these couple pieces here because I just got them by following this guy on Instagram and kind of forgetting. I was going to commission the guy, and then I kind of forgot to ask for the commission after a while and follow up on it. One day I see he has this piece of art right here, and he's just like, hey, if anyone wants this, it's up for grabs. And I was working nights that week, and he posted it in the morning, so I just happened to get off of work and just get on Instagram, and I'm just like, hey, is this taken? He's just like, no, you're the first one to message. Congratulations. If you want it, send it now. I'll actually have my daughter ink it and then send it, so I'll make it even better. I'm like, sold. So I sent PayPal in 5 minutes, and he had this to me in 2 days. So this is my Moon Knight I got from him.
Oh, yeah.
18 by 24, and I paid much less than $200 for this. It's totally worth it. And you could tell like the ink bleed through on the back and everything. He even put his thumbprint on the back. So I was he was so happy with this piece. He did 2 more and sold them the same way on his Instagram. But he's just like, yeah, the next one's gonna be better. And I still like mine the best, obviously. So.
No, that one's dope, dude. I remember when you posted that to Instagram. I was like,
So I just recommend, like, if there's an artist you kind of are thinking about commissioning, at least follow them on social media. And maybe one day they'll just be like, hey, someone flaked out on this piece, go for it. So there's that. And then literally like a couple weeks later, he did the same thing with this. And then you guys probably know what this one is. This is the cover recreation he did for TMNT #1. And like you, Kavi, I don't really deal with a lot of cover recreations. It's not my thing really. But obviously when it comes to these guys right here, it was my thing. So I was like, hey, is that piece still available? He's like,
and
yes.
You and I have talked about it before, but that is one of the few other cover recreations that I'm getting.
Absolutely.
I don't know by who yet. Like,
right.
I have an idea that is a cover I would like to get recreated at some point because I have the book also, and it would just be perfect. It would just be perfect, like to have a recreation of that and display it with the book somehow. But I haven't quite decided. But that's honestly, with seeing how well that he did of yours, like that's that's pretty damn impressive, and he's quite affordable. So
yeah, and I was like, after I bought, like, by the way, how big is that? Really, he's like, oh, it's a 20 by 28. I'm just like, okay, now I have to go buy a poster frame. So yeah, I had to do a little bit of framing work on that myself, but I think it turned out really well. I was just the line work you can see up close that he did. And then to shout to him as well, the only other cover I've seen that like blew my mind on it, he has some great artwork, but he actually did a Detective 880 for somebody.
Oh, really?
Because he even said in his Instagram, he's like, I probably should have charged the guy more because he was drawing like, Jacques put so much work into that. He had to draw all those little bats that fly out of the side of the skull or whatever. He drew all of those bats.
So I've seen the original, like not in person, but I've seen it. I've seen the collector who has the original Jock Tech 880 post it in some sort of art group that I'm in, and I was just like, wow, You know, I think he got it well before that cover became that cover. But yeah,
these were my last two. I kind of almost forgot they were sitting over there, but I got Armando Ramirez to do this Casey Jones for me, and then Aranja Devasarindra, who also he just calls his site the Vitruvian Fan Shop. So you can search for Vitruvian Fan on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. But I think he's newer on the scene. He was super cool to deal with. He actually sent me the entire process via instant message. So like any rough draft he did, he sent out any suggestions. He asked my opinion on like everything he did. He was a cool guy to deal with. So I think that's everything finally.
Dude, we didn't count because, but you might have the record for most individual drawings shown on Original Art Hour. Like, I think maybe Brian, Take the Time Collectibles, his episode lasted almost 2 hours, and he barely scratched the surface of what he had. He probably showed the most published stuff that anyone has ever shown.
Wow.
But you definitely probably just showed the most like illustrations, sketches right there.
One day I might get a page. It's just been like, if I dip my toe in that, I think my wallet's just done. Like I get enough commissions. Like I would love to get
do your thing. You know.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That works for you. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, dude, thank you so much, man, for hanging out with me, for sharing your collection of art, for hanging out, talking with me. And kicking off this first night of CBNYCC 2020. We got 2 more nights of scheduled content and a third night on Sunday, third additional night on Sunday of a mystery show. Graphic Man's like 1 hour, 18 minutes. You know what? It probably is anyway. So thank you, Gray Matter. It's made it Thursday. What's up, Backseat Driver 5280? You sort of made it. Yeah, exactly. Sort of. There you go. Definitely CWood is the sketch king. Catch the rewind backseat though, because CWood, if you haven't seen CWood's collection, I highly encourage you rewind and check that out because there was some really, really cool stuff. Thank you, JP. Thank you, Lasso. Thank you, everybody here who was hanging out. D-Runk, Sam I Am. So quick reminder about the rest of the schedule for CBNYCC 2020, starting tomorrow. Okay, we have this is the full schedule, but starting tomorrow we have that Road to 900 giveaways show. So that'll be at 8:00 Eastern. I have some pops. I have some sketch covers. I have a whole lot of comic books. Comic Head 84 is going to be giving away a sketch cover.
Nice.
Other people are going to be hopping on live and giving books away and stuff away, so that should be a fun one. And then on Saturday we have the claim sale, as I alluded to earlier, with me, DS, Daymers, J Hood Creative. Should have some more giveaways as well, and that will be a good one. 8:00 Eastern as well. And then on Sunday, the mystery show, 8:00 Eastern. Details to be revealed if you show up. And that's it, man. So thanks again, CWood, for hanging out. Yo, Jay Salsa, thank you for watching and being here. Dude, I'm looking forward to the next time we do something on YouTube. I'm sure there'll be something soon. But until then, hopefully maybe you can hang out for one of these other things, live show tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely.
Or whatever.
That claim sale, you're more not only you were there, but you got a lot of awesome people as part of it. So I'll definitely be in that chat.
Appreciate it, man. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the festivities this weekend, and looking forward to hanging out with everybody and having some fun in place of New York Comic Con with CBNYCC 2020. And that's going to do it for tonight. We'll see you next time on Original Art Hour. Bye.
Later.
Where do I begin? I see the hate, they don't want to see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard this game, I had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. Been through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, it's not a purse, it's a merch. 6 figures was a goal, now it's 9 or a hearse. Put it work. Used to pull up, not swerve, no time for the snakes, time to put them in the dirt, that's word. I gotta get it, it's in my DNA. You only see the highlights, don't know what it takes. Last year stressing, got no sleep. Now I'm right between the courts, I don't know